Seshadri Chari, convener of the Foreign Affairs Cell of the BJP. Colonel Anil Kaul is joining us from Delhi. Maruf Raza, strategic affairs expert. Former diplomat M.K. Bhadra Kumar. Shiv Shankar Mukherjee, former diplomat, also from Delhi. Former Chief of Army Staff General V.P. Malik and General Ashok Mehta, defense analyst. Gentlemen, I thank you for joining me on this very important Newshour debate. Maruf, let me start with you. Pakistan has completely rejected our protest, which means we are back to square one. So what should we do next? Do we have an effective option, or do we need to change our strategy vis-a-vis Pakistan?
Arnab, I said it on your program yesterday, and I'm saying it again, that as far as Pakistan is concerned, you will not get an acceptance or an admission from Pakistan for this ghastly act. But more importantly, since 26/11 in particular, and several senior officials from the government serving and retired are on record to say that 26/11 was not just another event in India's history, particularly with reference to Pakistan. It was a watershed. And even after 26/11, India failed to tighten the screws on Pakistan. This channel in general, and myself in particular, we had gone on record again and again to say that there were several advantages that we could have then exploited because international opinion was in our favor. Somehow this event, though much smaller in nature, this beheading of our soldiers, is again getting the international community to look at India-Pakistan relations closely. So herein lies another opportunity to go back to the drawing board and basically address the issue of how to deal with Pakistan. I'm sorry to say that the government then, it is this very own UPA-2 government, failed to exercise enough leverage on Pakistan. We could have told the international community, whose eyes are on India as a big market, that if you want favors from India, you want to do business in India, you want leverage in the Indian establishment and the market, then you have to choose whether to deal with India or Pakistan.
True.
We failed to isolate Pakistan then, giving thereby a message that India will bounce back in its own way and start dealing with Pakistan as though everything else is hunky-dory, and which is precisely, you've named a number of meetings that have taken place. Our government talks of building trust deficit and going over the trust deficit requirement vis-a-vis Pakistan. But quite frankly, the trust deficit's not going to go away because of these high-flying diplomatic meetings. Pakistan understands the language of power and strategic
force.
weight. We
Precisely.
have failed to exercise our strategic weight vis-a-vis Pakistan. So they cannot be firing on the LOC and Bollywood diplomacy or track-to diplomacy or any other kind of people-to-people milap and candle-burning sessions on the Wagah border. We've got to take a stand that India is a country, Indian sentiments are involved, and we have to do something more seriously. I think this government has failed to understand the pulse of the people of India.
Opening up the debate, let me go to the other side. Let me go to Mr. Bhadra Kumar. Mr. Bhadra Kumar, we cannot follow this predictable pattern anymore. I'm sure as a diplomat, you would agree with me. This whole pattern, attack, provocation, and then duplicity by Pakistan. And then some interested group saying, oh, there is too much at stake. Let us not do anything which will jeopardize the peace process. Hasn't that become stale, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, now? Not just stale, but ineffective.
Yes, of course. What we have in front of us is the final, is the last episode, and I do hope this is the last one, very last one, of a certain pattern of escalation of violence along the border with Pakistan. Now, it's quite clear to any of us that the momentum of the so-called dialogue had begun fizzling out. Prime Minister's visit is not taking place to Pakistan, and a number of so-called doable issues which India and Pakistan have been deliberating on, there has been no movement, and the dialogue has come to be all about so-called confidence-building measures. Now, in a situation of this kind, what we do need to do is to very coolly, logically go through the full range of motivations and intentions on the part of Pakistan if it is ratcheting up tensions.
No, do you have any doubt that they are ratcheting up tensions? No, why do you add an if? Do you have any doubt that they are ratcheting up the tensions?
I have no doubt whatsoever, because I don't think that we are such irrational people that we will kill our soldiers, our own soldiers, for propaganda purposes.
Right.
There are no two ways about it. Certainly there has been a ratcheting up of tensions.
Great.
Now, why is this happening? That needs to be very coolly, deliberately. That needs to be.
No, why is it happening? You tell me your view. Why do you think it's happening?
Yes. I think there are three reasons. One is, whatever might have been the Pakistani expectations out of this dialogue, there has been a very serious shortfall from their point of view. And the other side of it is that they have a feeling, rightly or wrongly, that India has taken undue advantage of it. Number two, Pakistan is no longer under pressure.
No,
undue advantage of it.
No, what do you mean by what do you?
No, let me finish.
No, what do you mean by undue advantage?
I can revisit. You see, if I do not present the whole thing, it doesn't make sense. That's why. Let me present it, and then we can revisit these points. Number two is that Pakistan has been under pressure, enormous pressure, as the previous speaker pointed out very rightly, over the past 1 year, with a deep chill in the relations with the US. Now that is no longer the case. There is bound to be a certain swagger in the Pakistani actions. That is number two. Number three, this is unfolding certainly against a broader regional security scenario in relation to Afghanistan.
I think we are.
It's quite clear that the end game. It's quite important.
Mr. Bhadrakumar, do you feel somewhere? Just sorry to interrupt you there. Do you feel somewhere that we are over theorizing this? We are seeking some large geopolitical justice. The fact is, the Pakistani mindset is not a mindset which talks peace, and we have put the onus on ourselves to take this process forward. Maruf says Pakistan only understands the language of power and force.
No. The problem is, I am neither a psychologist nor a sociologist. I am professionally a diplomat. No, but I am equipped to analyze the situation in a certain way. No, certainly, but I can't get into their mindset. But I can analyze their intentions.
See, the question is this: we had Sharm el-Sheikh, we had the botched attempt to invite Javed Miadat to India. We are the ones who have allowed Pakistanis to invest in our country. Foreign direct investment. We have shown enough acts of generosity from our side, haven't we? Let me get a third voice in. Let's get in Seshadri Chari into this discussion. Mr. Chari, tell me, have these talks achieved anything for us except to keep a peace industry afloat?
Arnav, when we are dealing with Pakistan, we should also remember that Government of India is dealing with the Government of Pakistan, whereas the Government of Pakistan is not just dealing with Government of India. There are three sides of relationships. While the Government of Pakistan deals with the Government of India, it is the Army of Pakistan and the ISI and the jihadis who are dealing with the army and the civil society in India. Therefore, we should also realize the contours of this relationship with Pakistan and also take a definite and retributive action for every action that the army has taken on Indian army.
So,
needless to say, the army has not mounted, Pakistani army or the ISA has not mounted an attack on Government of India. Therefore, the Government of India should immediately put a military strategy into place, whichever way it works. Number one. Number two, it is not just enough if the foreign minister or the defense minister makes a statement that we will take a serious note of it. I think this is a matter on which either the Prime Minister or the President of India should address the nation, and their address to the nation should be strongly worded,
but the attempt,
so that it becomes an address not only to the nation but also to the international community.
No, but the attempt
expose the duplicity of Pakistan.
No, but the attempt, especially of the doves and the peaceniks, seem to be to somehow try and downplay this. The so-called peace industry is today
if
extremely worried that this will be played
Minister,
up. No, my question is very simple.
No, why should it be played up? The Prime Minister and the President of India. President is the chief of the armed forces in this country. Two of his men have been killed brutally.
Yes.
He is not the president answerable to the people of this country.
I'm going to put this question before I come to General Malik. My question is to Colonel Kaul. Let me take the example of Sorab Kalia. What did the government do on Sorab Kalia? Did they do absolutely anything? And Colonel Kaul, who do you blame for the complete inaction in the case of Sorab Kalia?
Arnab, before I answer your question, I'd like to put something on your news channel today once and finally, because some of my journalistic friends among the doves have commented that I wear a funny thing on my face and come and speak rubbish. And this has been conveyed to somebody very high in the military hierarchy of this country. As far as my speaking rubbish is concerned, it's a separate issue altogether. But as far as this is concerned, this is the result of combat injuries, which I wear very proudly. But these are justifiable because they were done in the spirit of what you have in battle. But what has happened in Mendar is something which is not only condemnable but needs severe retaliatory action. Mr. Sheshadri Chari and Mr. Radhakumar are diplomats. Let them, they are paid to do diplomacy. Let them do the diplomacy in track 1 to 10 or Hollywood or Bollywood. Let the armed forces do what they are best meant to do. Let the local army commander take a decision and do what he has to do.
Which is what?
Which is going back and getting these chaps. You have identified the battalion. What is the reason why we are keeping our hands tied behind our back? The unwritten law, and General Malik or any other army officer on this show will agree with me, the general unwritten law on the LC is finders keepers. So why can't we go across and do the same thing? Because that is the only language they understand.
But for that, the army has to be given some degree of a free hand. Colonel Malik, I want you to respond to Colonel Anil Kaul today, who says time for retaliation.
Arnab, firstly, let us be very clear that at the policy level, politics, diplomacy and military, they cannot be separated. They have to work together. There is a feeling, very strong feeling in me, based on my own experience, and amongst many other retired chiefs and senior officers, that our Pakistan policy is not taking into account the situation on the ground, particularly the security situation along the line of control. And that is happening because there is inadequate interaction between the military and our political leadership. Even today, I was quite surprised that the incident of yesterday, it was reported to the Prime Minister not by the army chief or the service chiefs together, but by whom? The NSA and the Defense Secretary. My own experience of 3 years as an army chief was that whenever such an incident took place, the CCS met. We went to the CCS, we explained the whole thing, in which the Foreign Minister, the whole CCS, including the External Affairs Minister, they were all sitting there. What kind of a disconnect is this? So unless you sort out your own systems and make sure that your diplomacy, your politics and your military, they go hand in hand and not separated, you will have a problem like this.
Sir, may I ask you something? May I ask you something?
Yes.
Sir, one second.
Yeah, platitudes.
One second. What did you say, Colonel Kaul?
I said again, platitudes. Let the army chief, the former army chief say, tell his army commander, go ahead and sort them out. Why can't he do it? Who's stopping him? There is no diplomacy or government sanction required on the LC at all. It's a self-imposed exile that you have placed on self कि हम आर या पार, आप पार नहीं जाएंगे.
Now, is the army
policy? Yes, policy. What?
One second. General Malik, Colonel Kaul is saying that in his view, the army is handcuffed. It may not be a physical handcuff, but there are handcuffs on the army today. Is it true? Is that also your sense? Say so if you think so, sir.
Look, we are talking of policy first. Okay. Surely you do not want to give that kind of independence to your formation commanders on the line of control or AGPL. You will have escalations every day taking place. There has to be a policy both for our own army as well as foreign policy and political policy towards Pakistan. I'm not in agreement with Anil Kaul when he says that you ask your brigade commanders and div commanders to go across.
Why only one-sided?
Look, Anil, I don't think I wish to answer your questions because we are not, I'm talking at policy level, you are talking at a different level.
Sir, I am talking very basics that you keep giving platitude. Last time also you said you wrote a letter to the defense minister on Sorab Kalia's case. Nothing happened in 13 years. 2 guys get their heads knocked off. Nothing happened for the next 13 years. Nobody will light a candle for them. No, there'll be no mass protest. There'll be nothing on the streets. Everyone will forget it, and that's the end of the story. One more program on the war memorial will come up, and that's as far as we are concerned. But the fact of the matter is that why are we allowing only one-sided intervention? Why can't you do it?
Arnav?
Yeah. I want to know if the former...
Arnav, I don't wish to comment on. Arnav, I don't wish to comment on that.
You wish not to comment, but I have a question. I'm taking this forward. One sec. I want to get everyone in. General Ashok Mehta, I'm coming to you. However, I would like you to candidly tell me today, General Malik, is it true, and I want to push you further on the Sorab Kalia case, that in October 1999, when you were the army chief, during Kargil, you visited Captain Kalia's home and you promised to take up the issue with the government? Is it true that you were later advised, and you can say so candidly today because it reflects whether or not the army is responded to effectively? Is it true that you were later advised that it is a sensitive issue involving 2 nations and therefore the army should pull itself back and let the MEA, PMO or MOD handle this case? 13 years later, nothing has happened in the Sorab Kalia case. Please tell us if it is true.
Arnav, whoever has given you that is not correct. That's not a correct statement. The fact is that yes, I reported this matter to the External Affairs Minister as well as to the Defense Minister, and policies are taken up by them. This whole thing, Army headquarters on its own cannot take up these issues with foreign countries.
Sir, the question is...
Please try and understand.
Yeah, I understand, but please understand why I'm asking you the question, not because I'm blaming you, General Malik, but because genuinely... because genuinely there is a feeling that the political establishment in this country is so deeply vested or invested in this business of improving relations with Pakistan that the sacrifice of our martyrs is reduced to a footnote because it will upset the peace industry, which thrives on track 2, track 3, track 4 with Pakistan.
Arnav, I am denying that kind of advice given to me by anyone.
Sir, I only remember that in June 1999, a man called Jaswant Singh almost broke down. He trembled with emotion, and I'm reading a news report. He was close to tears as he described how 6 Indian soldiers had been mutilated in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir before being killed. And we just forget what has happened in the past. And that's why we are bringing this up again today, sir. Not for blaming, but for naming why this incident has happened, why we allow repeats of this to happen. General Ashok Mehta, without wasting much time, do you think there is a peace industry in Delhi which is now getting rattled at Pakistan at the media asking Pakistan to be made accountable. And what has this peace industry ever achieved, sir, except whining and dining sessions with their Pakistani counterparts?
You asked me a question rather late in the day, but before I address that question of track 2 or track 3, I just want to tell Anil that at the local army commander level, there is a fair amount of decentralization of power, and I am absolutely 100% certain that the army commander in Northern Command will, at a time and place of his choosing, carry out whatever action is needed to restore the confidence of the troops on the line of control. We have spent at least 1/3 of our lives on the line of control. So that's the first point, that I don't think we should take this matter because what will happen at a certain stage is that, like the Pakistanis have carried out an action and denied it completely, we should create the capabilities, the covert capabilities, which we do have today but not adequate.
Why?
To carry out such actions.
Why is it not adequate?
And teach Pakistan a lesson. In other words, escalation dominance is not in the court, Pakistani court.
Sir,
that we can also escalate, but controlled escalation.
No.
There is a capability.
Before I come to, I hope you will address the question of the peace industry and the fruitlessness and uselessness of track 3 and track 4. I get your point. But my question to you is, why would you admit today on television, General Ashok Mehta, that the political establishment in Delhi is not comfortable with letting the army exercise covert capability? They are so deeply vested in trying to rewrite the history with Pakistan that they don't want to give that freedom or the opportunity.
This is a matter which the army, I think the army also has a responsibility, because it is not merely for the government to say no, it is for the army to say we need it. And I think we need people of the caliber who should be able to thump the table and say that in view of the current military situation on the ground, where Pakistan thinks, as you quoted earlier, that India will do nothing in response to what they do, that should be disabused. And that can be disabused if we have those covert capabilities, and Pakistan knows. Pakistan knows that we will use those capabilities, and that there is decentralization for the army commanders to use that capability. At the moment, Pakistani soldiers will tell you, or used to tell you, that you have to ask Delhi. You have to ask Delhi to get permission. And therefore, I think that has to be done. And this is the dialogue between the army and the government, and the Chief of Army Staff or the Chairman Chiefs of Staff and the Cabinet Committee on Security or the Prime Minister. That is one side of the equation.
Sir, to your observation, just one point I need to... Maruf and Colonel Kaul, I know you want to respond. I want to go to Shiv Shankar Mukherjee, who hasn't spoken yet. Are you suggesting, sitting as you are next to a former army chief, that our former army chiefs have not had, either the opportunity or the will to thump on the table and tell the government of India that, look here, we need the covert ability and we need it now, because we need to strike against Pakistan if they try so, and twice as hard, so that they learn the lesson? And if so, why has our army establishment become so weak vis-a-vis the civilian establishment? Why are they not speaking up for what they need? Maruf, before I come to you, I want to go across once again for one quick word to Shiv Shankar Mukherjee. Shiv Shankar Mukherjee, you are seeing the way the discussion is now moving forward. Centrally though, however, My question to you as a former diplomat is, will you acknowledge these so-called peace talks have been thoroughly fruitless, especially over the last 5 to 6 years?
Well, they have been, I wouldn't say they have been fruitless. They have been very fruitful from the Pakistani side. It has enabled Pakistan to pull the wool over the eyes of the international community. It has enabled them to thwart and reject evidence of terrorism and all kinds of invasion of sovereignty of India. The dialogue suits them very well. And coming to your point about the army establishment, I think we are being unfair to the army establishment. The way the system operates in India, the fact is that the political leadership must declare its political objective very clearly. Absent that, you cannot blame the army establishment for being either overreacting or underreacting. The fact is that, you know, when in Mani Iyer's phrase that if the government is committed to an uninterrupted and uninterruptible dialogue, the fact is that from independence, the military establishment that rules Pakistan is committed to an uninterrupted and uninterruptible hostile activity against India. Unless that is factored into our political will, then our counters to Pakistani perfidy will be to invite them for a cricket match and similar things. So that is the nub of the matter. The army in India, as everybody knows, is perfectly capable and perfectly willing to carry out the orders of the political establishment. It is the political establishment that must set that policy and define its objective very, very clearly.
I think there is complete unanimity on the panel, interestingly, today, that it is the political establishment which has failed insofar as handling Pakistan is concerned. We had a few counters. Maruf Raza's first counter, I think he wanted to counter Ashok Mehta. Then I'm coming to you, opening up this debate now, gentlemen, for the next 25 minutes. Maruf, please go first. Go ahead.
Arnab, I'm not countering what General Mehta has said. Actually, General Mehta is a very experienced soldier, and just like General Malik and Colonel Kaul, they're all hands-on men. They've faced battle, they faced bullets. But let me sort of put it into context and summarize what is coming out and where I feel where we are lacking. The first thing is, at the highest level of decision-making in this country, at the political sphere, you'd probably have 1.5 politicians in this country at any given time who understands military and strategic issues. The rest of them couldn't be bothered. They leave it to generalist bureaucrats to brief them who are equally at sea on matters military. And General Malik did bring out that disconnect between the political bureaucratic elite and the military establishment on matters of national security. And we as a nation, if we have got great power aspirations, the first thing is we should be able to sort out our neighborhood. And we should be able to have a political leadership which gives times to matters military, except barring aside reviewing ceremonial parades. Obama takes 2 days off every year to go and understand the status of his nuclear command and his strategic commands. When was the last time any prime minister in India also at least bothered to understand what is the difference between Northern Command and Western Command? What are their operational zones? What is a fighter aircraft vis-a-vis, another aircraft which is just a routine attack helicopter? These are issues that at the highest level politicians must expect to understand. Only then, Arnab, can they direct the military to do something. Let me tell you another very interesting dimension to it all, and that is that General Malik did bring that point out, but more importantly, what Colonel Kaul said, and I go along with him, that the army commander there, and General Mehta referred to that, and yes, I do agree, the army commander there must have already, and I believe there was a news item yesterday, that Northern Army commander has said that we will react at a place of our choosing. We are at a disadvantage at Mender, but we are not at a disadvantage at various other parts of the 740-kilometer long line of control, and we should be able to give them a bloody nose to tell them, listen, as far as the line of control is concerned, you respond, we respond. And this should not be connected with the larger holistic view that this government has.
But Maruf,
candy floss diplomacy or not, to take your term.
But Maruf, the bottom line is this, that, as Shiv Shankar Mukherjee very rightly pointed out, and I'm sure that Mr. Bhadra Kumar agrees with Shiv Shankar Mukherjee on this, that on the one side, we want uninterrupted and uninterruptible dialogue with Pakistan. They want to have an uninterrupted export of terrorism. Mr. Bhadra Kumar, I'm sure. Mr. Bhadra Kumar, I'm sure you're in complete agreement with Shiv Shankar Mukherjee on that. Let me get the other side, please. 1 second, Maruf. Bhadra Kumar, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, would you respond?
Just let me make one quick point.
We have completely contorted.
One quick point.
Okay.
One quick point. One quick point, and that is that in the case of India-Pakistan, our leaders have failed to understand that unless you have the Pakistan military on board in any dialogue or peace process, you're not going to get anywhere.
They will not come on board. They will not come on board.
If they don't underwrite it, they will not support what the Zardaris and Jilanis
They will not come on board.
They don't matter to Rawalpindi.
They will not come on board because this duplicity suits them. Because Hina Rabbani Khar can give her cozy interviews in Islamabad while the army has a free hand on the LOC. Seshadri Chari, you want to come in very quickly, and then I'll go to Mr. Bhadra Kumar to see whether he agrees with Shiv Shankar Mukherjee. Yes, sir.
Arnav, I completely agree that the army in Pakistan or the ISI cannot be expected to come on board as far as talking with India is concerned. Therefore, we will have to talk to them in the language that they will understand.
Exactly.
We will have to tell them point blank that all peace talks
or not talk to them at all, or not talk to them at all.
Today, the Prime Minister or the President of India should declare it to the nation as a whole that we are stopping all confidence building measures with Pakistan forthwith with immediate effect, and if any cricketer from Pakistan is left behind here, he should be politely asked to take leave of this
Mr.
country
Bhadra
and go
Kumar,
back.
Mr. Bhadra Kumar, do you agree? 1 second. Mr. Bhadra Kumar, do you agree with that? Do you agree with Seshadri Chari? Call off the CBMs, call off the process unless there is an assurance in writing from the Pakistanis now.
Let me address this from a different angle. The dialogue process that has taken place, I actually begin from November 2003 when Musharraf unilaterally offered that there would be a ceasefire on the border between India and Pakistan. You know, there have been a lot of gains. It's undeniable. You know,
what gains?
It's not as if, you know, neither side gained. There has been a ceasefire.
No, what gains?
Which by and large held. There has been a certain let me finish. Since you invited me, you know, it's only fair that you let me finish.
But can I make a counterpoint to that?
Which held for close to a decade.
Sir, the ceasefire is not held.
The situation in the valley has improved.
Sir,
and there has been a better atmosphere in the relations between the two countries. There has been a greater movement of people.
Mr. Bhadra Kumar, you are factually wrong. No, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, you are factually wrong.
Therefore,
you are factually wrong, sir.
That as far as the government is concerned, there has been no confusion about it.
Sir, you are factually
its objective has been to have better relations with Pakistan, good neighborly relations with not only with Pakistan but with other countries in the South-Asian region.
Mr. Bhadra Kumar, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, you are Mr. Bhadra.
But now the point is there is a new ball game.
Sir, no.
There is a new environment which is shaping up in the region.
Sir,
and within that, against that backdrop, unless we analyze this situation,
Mr. Bhadra Kumar,
taking place, we are not going to get anywhere.
Mr. Bhadra Kumar, can you hear me?
Our range of responses, our options, policy options available with us have to be pitted against the regional security backdrop. And against that backdrop, we anticipated
what are the policy options available to you after post Bombay attack?
We could have
what about 9/11 attack? What about the attack on Bombay?
There will be a certain different attitude on the part of Pakistan, and our responses will have to be calibrated, keeping in view the regional backdrop.
Sir, 1 second.
Therefore, I think it has to be a very rational attitude that we have to take towards this situation, instead of reducing it to an operational matter, instead of reducing it to a question of tit for tat escalation. I think it will be very, very immature with that kind of an attitude.
Sorry, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, you are totally wrong on this aspect. I am very sorry to say this.
That's the Orna.
You may be you are a very seasoned diplomat,
Orna,
but let me put it across straight to you. Unless you inflict a cost on Pakistan, you will not be able to bring Pakistan on its knees.
But on the other hand, you've had so many assurances from Pakistan, if not from 2003, but after the attack on Parliament, Pervez Musharraf gave 2 assurances through Richard Armitage that they would end cross-border terrorism irreversibly, permanently, and to the satisfaction in India. Then again on 4th of January 2004, Pervez Musharraf and Bajpayee, he said there will be no terrorism from Pakistani soil. You have this unending number of commitments from Pakistan. Commitments from Pakistan mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore, you should not factor. Therefore, you should not factor this as something that will go to make policy. I think you have to be realistic. You have to realize that in Pakistan, the shots are being called by the army. The army is aligned with the jihadis. There is a blur between the jihadis and the army. In a situation like this, the only thing that can work is a policy both of carrot and stick. We have the carrot and we have used the carrot.
A little bit more stick now will do us a lot of good.
We haven't got a stick.
Yeah. Question is,
we have not.
Okay. Can I make a small point on why I think Mr. Bhadra Kumar is factually incorrect before I come to the other panelists? Mr. Bhadra Kumar, either you got your facts wrong or you chose not to look at the facts. Because you said the ceasefire is held. I will prove to you right now that not only has the ceasefire not held, in every successive year since 2009, the number of ceasefire violations from the Pakistani side has gone up by 50% each year. 29 in 2009 for your information, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, 44 in 2010. 51 in 2001, 51 in 2011, 31 in the first half of 2012, 71 incidents of border violence.
Let me just
so why do you,
to you.
No,
what I said
Mr. Bhadra Kumar, why do you want to misinterpret the facts?
And
why do you want to misinterpret the facts? You know the facts. Why are you twisting the facts?
Began telling you there has been a steady escalation.
So
now that is also undeniable.
So why are you
rediscovering the wheel?
So you just said.
I don't understand.
You said. So you just said.
Agree on
Mr.
this,
Bhadra Kumar. Mr. Bhadra, I have just proven to you, Mr. Bhadra Kumar, that you're factually incorrect. And this whole, the whole garble and rubbish that, things are improving with Pakistan, it's not. For certain vested political interests, it may be.
Arnab.
But the fact is, the ground reality, it is not.
Arnab, can I come in here?
Colonel Anil Kaul also wants to come in. Colonel Anil Kaul, your point, please. Maruf, I'm coming to you after that.
Arnab, I'd like to, with due respect to General Mehta, General Malik, who are very senior to me, post 1971, I think they will agree with me, there have only been 1 or 2 army commanders in Northern Command who have gone for the jugular in not in a reactive mode, but in a proactive mode. Other than that, everyone has been reactive. Maruf has just mentioned that the army commanders made a statement that we'll do it in a place of our choosing. Okay, again it is reactive. As far as Mr. Bhadra Kumar is concerned, I have only one point. If things are so comfortable, what about people like us, the Kashmiri Pandits? How come we are still outside the valley? Nobody bothers about us? Is that normal that more 7.5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits are still in the camps? And Pakistan is, you are getting good results from the peace dialogue.
I want to know if either General Malik or General Mehta want to respond to your point. General Malik and General Mehta.
Lastly,
one point at a time. No, 1 point at a time, Colonel Kaul. 1 point.
Lastly. It's not, I'm sure in the question of whether an army commander is proactive or reactive, you will never know. There have been many incidents across the line of control where army commanders have exercised that option to good effect, and I know about it. And there's no need to talk about it. So you can't say 1 or 2 army commanders. The fact simply is that
between you and me, let us not hide it. There have only been 1 or 2. You don't want me to name
listen,
them.
Anil, the government.
You don't want me to name them. I will not
listen,
name
Anil,
them.
the government.
Come on, sir, stop hiding behind platitudes.
The government of the day has to enunciate policy. Having done that, the army chief and the commanders, they are very, very big people, and they exercise a huge command and control over military force. That military force must be used to political advantage. And army commanders have used it. We know that in Sumdrong Chu, in Wangdong, in Sumdrong Chu, the army commander there used that initiative, and that proved a terrific political advantage for Mr. Rajiv Gandhi when he went to Beijing. So army commanders are very much, and the chiefs are very much part of the same chain of command, but ultimately it's the government that
we come back. Okay.
Policy.
So we come back to the government. Once, Maruf, before I come to you, my question to Shiv Shankar Mukherjee is, Mr. Mukherjee, we have had a presentation right now from Mr. Bhadra Kumar. He sees the positive side. He says things have been improving. The ceasefire has been largely held. There is merit in continuing the process. I want to know whether you agree with what he said first before I ask my follow-up question to you. You heard what he said.
As a wish and a hope, I would agree, but on the ground realities, I don't. The fact is, let's bring it down to very simple facts. It's not a question of thinking, but knowing. Number one, Pakistan is ruled and dominated by a military establishment. I don't even like the word ISI being hyped about all the time. It is the military establishment that rules Pakistan. It is the military establishment that over the last 60 years or so has demonstrated not only its implacable hostility towards India, but given sufficient evidence that it is not going to change for the foreseeable future. The fact is, how do we counter it and maintain peace on our borders and maintain our sovereignty? Do we put faith in an eventual good sense on the part of Pakistan and turn the other cheek every time there is an incident? The incident that has just happened, which is leading to so much anger in this country, let me say, is despicable and in the realms of people in uniform. It is something that is really obscene, but it is one of a long litany of actions which is aimed against the Indian state. Some of them actually, in actual fact, far more serious, such as the attack on Parliament, 26/11, and so on. Our reaction has been legalistic and also, I think, a cover-up, in the sense that when we respond with weak-kneed reactions, we call it mature diplomacy. But this is not mature diplomacy. You have to make a choice. You can either hope and pray that someday the fact that Pakistan itself is being more hurt through the terrorism that it supports than even its neighboring country will come home to them, but probably it won't. And therefore you must then think of what one of your panelists said, of inflicting the pain of punishment. You must either hope that good sense will prevail, but politically you must, as they say, hope for the best but keep the powder dry. For the moment, I think all efforts of getting Pakistan to see reason
have failed.
To demonstrate to them that their actions actually hurt them and their society, their people, much more than even India, has failed. And therefore, to protect ourselves, to protect our sovereignty, to keep our borders peaceful, we have to select alternatives. The alternative is the infliction of a certain amount of retaliatory punishment to make them think more than once about continuing to do what they have been doing. And one more point about the international community. Certainly we must take this to the international community. This and other actions of Pakistan. Pakistan has already.
But why haven't we? No, but why haven't we? No, Mr. Mukherjee, why haven't we? You see, I completely agree with you that we mix up indecision, lack of resolve, and spinelessness, and we call that maturity.
No.
But why haven't we?
Yeah, the point I was coming to is that when we talk of the international community, in diplomacy you have to be focused. What is the international community as far as Pakistan is concerned? It is the United States of America and it is China. China that supports Pakistan, arms it, provides it with nuclear weapons. As everybody knows, absent China, there is no nuclear weapons program in Pakistan. US as the sole superpower in the world today, for its own reasons, its pursuit of its national interest, which nobody can argue with, will maintain its relationship with Pakistan. These are the two countries which we must address. And when we talk of the international community, these are the two countries that we have to take our message to.
I take your point. I saw two hands go up there. One point which has got missed out, gentlemen, is about the peace industry. Now, there are people who do track 2, track 3, track 4, track 5, track 6, track 11, God knows how many tracks of dialogue have been going on. We missed that out completely because there are interested sections in Delhi which only want to see these track 5, track 20 initiatives carry on because it keeps them afloat. Now, that is something which we also need to look at. Yes, Seshadri Chari wanted to come in. Maruf, I'm coming in to you right after Seshadri Chari. Yes, Mr. Chari.
No, I think this is not the forum to discuss what the army has to do, or this is also not the forum whether the track 1 to track 11 has failed or succeeded. We don't have to even bother about these track 2s and track 10s. These track 2 diplomacies will not exist if the government is serious enough in dealing with Pakistan. So, to take up the issue from where Mr. Shiv Shankar Mukherjee left, if we have to address the international community, we have to do it in two manners. The first thing would be, we should inflict a cost on Pakistan and escalate it in such a manner that it is Pakistan which goes to the international community and tells them that, look, this is what India has done, and the international community
respond like the Israelis would have.
Pakistan, this is what you expected, this is what you asked for, and you have got it from India.
Yeah, Maruf.
To this, the political establishment in India will have to react not tomorrow, but today.
The political
establishment. That is why I said it is either the Prime Minister or the President of India should address the nation and also address the international community.
But you know, Mr. Seshadri Chari, when the Israelis hit back, then the political establishment in Israel is also backing them. They are not weak-kneed, they are not indecisive, and they do not call being weak-kneed and indecisive maturity. Maruf wants to come in. Maruf, is it time to give Pakistan a bit of a bloody nose?
Political establishment
Maruf, please.
There are Mr. Chari's point about this whole track 2 diplomacy tamasha. Let me tell you something, that the Indian government and Delhi in particular always uses these track 2 initiatives, or they are funded by overseas agencies to test the waters, as it were, from amenable Indians and academics and intellectuals who like to be on this circuit. It's part of the sort of the prize of being a self-styled intellectual, to be on that circuit. But really nothing much comes out of it unless the other side is willing to move. Now, in the case of Pakistan, they're only willing to move on track 2 on one or two areas which are their soft spots. Which are their soft spots? Their soft spots being the Siachen Glacier dispute, where they're a complete disadvantage. So they have got their heavyweights coming in out there, fully funded by the ISI, and trying to get the Siachen dispute sorted out in their favor. Now, let me tell you two other things. General Mehta brought out about Sumdrang Chu. Sumdrang Chu was clearly an initiative on the part of General Sundarji and the army and the corps commander in the eastern sector. Now, the Prime Minister at that time, Rajiv Gandhi, actually was advised by his advisors to pull out of Sumdrang Chu, but Sundarji dug his heels in, and eventually we may able to convey a message to China that we mean business. Rajiv Gandhi's government got credit for it, but really it was Sundarji and his army and corps commander who had the guts to stick it out.
No, I have 1 minute
thirdly,
left.
And most importantly, let me tell you, the Pakistan army will only toe the line if there is something at stake. And in Musharraf's peace initiative, which was the ceasefire initiative, Musharraf and the then government here were dangled a larger prize by the international community that you out between yourselves.
I'm putting it out simply
as a start of a larger package.
Yes.
Now Musharraf lost clout, disappeared, so the ceasefire has lost relevance with Rawalpindi. Why are we living in the past? Let's get real.
Maruf, the discussion is very simple. I want Ashok Mehta and General Ashok Malik. I have one question to both of you. Just one question, sir. My question is this. Is it time now to increase both covert capability and immediately increase covert actions against Pakistan, to give them a serious bloodied nose and also claim anonymity for having done so, so they learn a lesson and never try this again. Can we be clear about that as a nation? General Mehta and General Malik.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want you on record on this.
I would suggest that one, that we create these covert capabilities, augment our special forces. We've been crying out for a long time that these capabilities, conventional capabilities, will deter. Covert capabilities will hurt and punish the adversary, punish Pakistan. But unfortunately, our modernization of the special forces has been very laggard. And therefore, the emphasis must be on the special forces. Number two is on deniability. I think there is no special art required on deniability. We've done it before and we can do it again. But we must have the political will, A, to create the capability, and B, what is more important is to use it. And then the Northern Army commander can go around, tell his troops at Nanga Tekri that, look, boys,
okay,
relax,
gentlemen,
this is not the end of the affair.
Gentlemen,
this has been hit back at a time and place of our own choosing.
No doubt about it. Ask anyone across the country today. If there is a time to hit back in a covert manner, it is now. This country has the resources, the ability and the will to act, and this message goes out to everyone, including all Pakistan apologists. The mood in this country is changing. And it's time to go. It's time to give the people of this country a little bit more stake in their own strategic interest. You want to say something, Colonel Kaul? Last 20 seconds on the show.
Yeah,
you want to have the last word. Go ahead.
Just one small thing. I think taking off from where Mr. Mukherjee said something about a cheek. We've run out of cheeks. Enough is enough. No more cheeks.
Enough is enough. No more cheeks. To all my panelists, thank you very much for joining me on this Newshour special edition tonight. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, see you tomorrow 9 p.m. with the big debate of the day. Good night and goodbye.